So hello and welcome to the ETH Game Programming Lab 2025 Final Presentations. My name is Bob Sumner. Big hello to everyone in the audience. Thank you for joining us today. For all of those watching the live stream, we're streaming this from Zurich, Switzerland at ETH Zurich. So the Game Programming Lab is a course at ETH where students work in small teams of 5 or 6 to develop a novel video game from scratch in one semester, which is a huge feat and a crazy accomplishment. They don't use an official game engine, so essentially the students develop their game and the game engine simultaneously. It's a capstone course at ETH, which means it builds on the ETH computer science and visual computing master's programs, so bachelor's and master's, where the students apply the skills that they learn throughout their studies to this group task of programming a game. And by applying those skills, they better internalize them. So it really has a core educational component in the department. Now, believe it or not, this is the 19th time we've taught the Game Lab. And over the years, we've had some really incredible, amazing games developed solely by the students. And I want to play a sizzle reel now of some of those games that they've made over the years. Let's take a look. So this year is the biggest course ever. We have 97 students. That's the most we've ever had. They've divided into 17 teams, which means you're going to see 17 really amazing, cool games today. Every year, we have a theme for the course. And the theme this year is a mythical, fictitious island called Koh Gamui. And on this island, we imagine 3 different areas: a mountain area, a beach area, and a town area. And we divided the students into 3 components where each of them kind of explore a game motivated by these cool parts of the island: mountain, beach, and town. So you're going to see a presentation from each team, so 17 different games. Then you, the people watching, will have the opportunity to vote on your favorite game to select the audience award winner. So that'll happen just after we see the presentations. Then we're also fortunate to have a professional game studio called Studio Gobo who played all the games and will announce a jury award for the teams. And then finally, after that, for those local here in Zurich, we have an apéro and vernissage just outside and downstairs, where all of the games will be set up and playable so that you can try them yourselves. So with that, we're going to move right ahead to the presentations, starting with the town side of Koh Gamui with the game Harbor Heist. Woo!
Once were two ships lost inside with a flag of black and a flag of white. We found an island we can loot like wood and rope and iron. We need them to craft goodies from like picklets, swords and barrels of rum. First crew who can bring them all will take their leave and go. Found 3 towns on this island shore, from small to big and even more. Landers walk round this harbour, but they can't stop our heist. Magic chest, give me some power to seal and brawl and go fast R. No one knows what more there is, come join us and find out. It's a harbour heist.
Okay. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
No, this is on too.
All right, let's get started. We are the developers of Harbor Heist. As you may have gathered from the trailer, Harbor Heist is a fun, chaotic 2v2 multiplayer game centered around 2 rival pirate crews trying to race to gather supplies from the island of Koh Gamui. The basic gameplay loop is pretty simple. You collect resources, then you craft items from those resources, and then you drop them off at your boat. Now, I know we're all seasoned pirates here, but let's quickly go over the pirating essentials one more time. Of course, anchors, compasses, swords, empty barrels for when you get seasick, rum barrels for getting seasick, water barrels, and peg legs. In Harbor Heist, you will be assigned a random list of items from this collection each round, and whichever team gathers the supplies quickest wins. To make the game more interesting, we've added a number of power-ups to annoy your teammates, your opponents, not your teammates. So like any good pirates, we have a logbook of our development. It all started off with a board game version. This was very slow-paced and super strategic, which was not exactly what we were going for. But the first playable demo was much more what we expected. We had some basic art and the first music, but we felt that just having the piers floating in the ocean was a bit strange, so we added a harbor. And after a bit of polishing, we came to our final game, which has a much more polished UI, NPCs wandering about the map automatically, satisfying sound effects, fun power-ups, and much, much more. If you want to play the game, I'm sure you'll desperately want to play the game, otherwise Jens will find you. Come down to our booth at the Vernissage later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harbor Heist. Woo! So, next up is Fatal Ovation.
Fatal Ovation.
Okay, hello everyone. We are the developers of Fatal Ovation, a 4-player party game with the goal of being the last man standing of a group of jesters whose performance wasn't very popular. So now the crowd starts throwing random stuff at you. So our basic idea was that is a chaotic bullet hell party game, because we all enjoyed playing those, and we think playing games with friends is always more fun than playing alone. And you are a group of jesters in a foreign land, and because your performance was so unpopular, well, you now have to dodge all of the projectiles that the unhappy crowd is throwing at you. Now, I will pass on to my colleague here, who will go over our development a little bit.
Yeah, so on the one side, you can see our very first prototype, very basic, just having a guy walk on a plane. And then on the next slide, that was our alpha release, I think, I forgot. But we already had the crowd going with a little physics simulation and so on. And we had models for a lot of stuff, but there was still improvement to do. So a little bit about how the game works. It's mostly about like doing collision with stuff, collision with projectiles, collision with the mob, and so on. And it all works with like oriented bounding boxes. Yeah, we calculate them using PCA, and then we do lots of intersection tests using SAT, and it's super fast and cool. But I'm going to pass you back to the graphics guy.
Which is me. I was mostly in charge of the shaders, and as you can see here, we had our fair share of little disasters on the way. Being a 3D game, we wanted to add a couple of very nice effects, which in turn obviously was quite a bit of effort and caused very funny and interesting graphic effects to happen throughout development. This is just a bit of a best of from my attempts at SSAO to, in the bottom right, one of our technical achievements was skeletal animation, meaning every single model there actually has animations. As you can see, this caused its own abominations and wasn't always working exactly as we intended. But the end result was that we had a 3D game using physically based rendering, ambient occlusion for little context shadows, and basic shadows as it is. And we were very happy with the final result and with how we made it look.
Yeah, the game's art is made using no AI at all, so we made everything ourselves in Blockbench and Blender, as you can see here. I'm going to give you to my colleague.
So for, as Daniel mentioned, all models were made in Blender and Blockbench, and in Blender we did all the rigging with bones and the skeletal animations, the keyframes, and our own custom pipeline for loading these in. Music production was done, we did our own music production, so everything you hear is produced by us. And yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fatal Ovation. I'd like to now welcome the next game, which is Banana Battle.
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, our game, maybe it wasn't very clear, but it's a fighter game. So it's 2 players fight each other, and they want to collect the most bananas as possible. And before we started, we had to have an idea or stuff we wanted to steal. So I think everyone knows this game. This is Mario Kart, but there's also a balloon battle in this. And we kind of wanted to steal the idea of fighting and using items, but also they have to collide with each other. And this is a game maybe most people don't know. It's Nidhogg. What's nice about this game is that the two people or the fighters really have to like poke each other, like really go physically at them. And we want to do this, but top down. So top down like this tank game here, where you see everything from the top. And if you mix all these three games together, you'll get our game Banana Battle. Basically, so okay, what's the goal of Banana Battle? The monkeys, they want to collect as many bananas as possible. How do they do that? By giving them swords. Okay, and then they just got to kill each other. And when they die, they drop bananas. And then the idea is that you bring back the banana to your basket. But while you're doing that, you get also killed by another monkey. Okay. So this was our first concept art. We then also made, like all the other teams, sort of a board game out of cardboard. We wanted to do it in 3D, and then mid-game development, we had to scratch this, and we decided to do pixel art. So we were kind of behind in that. Then I wanted to talk about colliders, but I think time won't be enough, so I'll skip that. Okay, and this is how the game looked in the beginning. And with our nice pixel art, it now looks like this. And in the beginning, you only had like very simple animations. And then later on, we added a bit more animation. So it feels better. It feels a bit more fancy. And yes, to make it a bit more interesting and have a bit more action and variety, we added power-ups. For example, the rocket launcher. You can become a giant, or you can flash through your enemy, or you can even speed. So it's basically just faster. Anyway, I think I'm good in time, so I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you very much. Woo.
So thank you, Banana Battle. The next game is Tropical Turbo. Woo!
Hi everyone, we're the developers of Tropical Turbo, which is a racing game. Since the theme this year evolves around Thailand, we thought there's nothing more fitting than driving around in a tuk-tuk. For that purpose, we've built an entire open world, which you can play in. And then the basic idea of our game is that you have these checkpoints, and there's many of them dispersed on the map, and you have to collect all of them and try to be as fast as possible. With that comes the twist in our game, since you're driving a tuk-tuk, usually they don't corner so well. So to help with that, we've decided to put a grappling hook on top so that you can swing around corners. And we're going to show how this works. So we're coming in hot and trying to turn left. So we can attach ourselves to this pole, pedal to the middle, and off we go. And I think we're going to see it again. So essentially, you can grapple to any surface and just swing around to be faster in corners. So we tried this out on paper. It all looked great. And then we built some terrain for our game. And then came the elephant in the room, which was implementing 3D vehicle physics for a tuk-tuk with a grappling hook. And so in case you're wondering, ChatGPT does not know how to do that yet, but maybe one day. So it took ourselves several attempts, but then over time and with the help of an external library, we managed to get it working. And so now you can just swing around any corner, attach to any surface, and that would be our game. Thank you.
So thank you, Tropical Turbo. The next game and the final one for this section of the island is Hose Masters. Woo! Hose Masters. Thank you.
Hose Masters.
The two bros, Hip and Hop, set out on a challenging mission to save the city from fire. All they have is one hose and a dream. They use it strategically to extinguish the blazing fires. One brother may anchor themselves to the ground so that the other can spray water. However, the brothers face many dangers. They may be electrocuted. They may be burned to a crisp. Or they may fall into the depths of the abyss. In the end, will they be able to master the hose and save the city? You decide.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We are Team Hose Masters. We decided to make a game about Koh Gamui's bravest, their firefighters. We were inspired by titles like Portal and Bread and Fred to make a cooperative platforming game with puzzle aspects. Our game has two core mechanics, swinging and spraying. Players are to ascend a burning building while being tied together with a hose. They have to work together to extinguish all the fires and make it to the top. We started our journey with a physical prototype. We decided early on to connect both players, and we wanted the knockback from spraying water to be the key to navigate through our levels. Our first digital prototype was visually abstract, but it already included most of the core mechanics. So players were connected by a hose, they could swing, they could spray, and they could extinguish fire. In the following weeks, we decided to switch to using a physics engine because we were facing many physics issues. And we also introduced a map editor to the game to make it easier to adjust and add new levels. At this point, we also introduced music and sounds to the game. Finally, we visually overhauled the game. We decided to add a building background and add more variations to existing tiles. We also added the lighting and the particle system to the game. And we even had some time left, so we decided to add some collectibles and more hazards. So the current state of the game features dozens of custom sprites and animations, custom sounds and music, an island parallax background, menus, tutorials, and of course, 12 levels with lots of swinging and spraying. Can you help Hip and Hop reach the top? Prepare to become host masters. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take it. Thank you, host masters. So that was the last game from the house section. We're going to move on to Koh Gamui's amazing beach, where we'll welcome the first game for this theme, Get Kraken. Woo!
Nice strike. Hi. We'll be presenting Get Kraken, turn tides in your favor. So what is Get Kraken? Our core idea was the Kraken-tastic co-op calamity supported by our flexible collision system for the isometric perspective we have. So the game is a chaotic couch co-op game where you really have to work together in order to cause as much chaos as possible. The co-op is asymmetric, so we have a Kraken more of a damage-dealing role and the God being more of a support role. And together you'll be giving these fancy enemies a hard time. So as the Kraken, you will be able to slap, spin, dash, and defend yourselves with a wave. And as the God, you can pet the Kraken to heal, you can catch and return projectiles, you can place traps with corals, and build walls. And of course, together you can go bowling.
So how did we get here? Of course, like everyone else, we did a bunch of brainstorming. A lovely artist, Alex, did all this concept art. And as mentioned previously, we tried out the game physically, which I think one of the other teams mentioned, trying out the fast-paced game on a playmat, well, it kind of ends up feeling really different. But the feeling that we found we needed, we made our own collision system because the others that we found didn't work the same way. And this also meant we had to make our own hitboxes that actually work with the system, and of course make the pathfinding that also works with the system. And of course we had UI troubles. I'm going to assume we went along with that because I've heard people complaining about that before. And of course for every change that we made, we broke stuff. So we had to playtest it. And then the things we fixed broke more stuff. So we playtested it again, and again, and again. Also while we were actually making the rest of the game. So levels, we were designing maps, we were fixing the bugs that were created by making levels. We added bosses, including Koh Gamui Land, the water park. We added the second half of the game where the squid actually gets Kraken. And of course we made our own music, we made our own assets, we added sound effects and more. And of course, we added juiciness. Which you can see here. Water shaders, particles, damage indicators. What you don't see is controller vibrations because there's no controller here, so just trust me, bro. Thank you. Woo.
So big thanks to Get Kraken. I'd like to welcome the next team, Hold at Bay 2.
All right, hello everyone. Thank you for watching our trailer. Let's move immediately to the presentation. So our game is called Hold at Bay 2. It's the very famous successor to Hold at Bay 1. May have never heard of it. So we don't have that much time, so we're gonna go very fast. So this was the first iteration of the game. Looks more like a chessboard, like a chess game. So just some 2D play and some character movement. Here we moved to already a 3D plane and some basic fighting and structure placing. Here we moved to a better map. This was on April 4th, 7th approximately. Here we added shadows, which took only 3 weeks of work, so that was fine. Here the game was already in a very good state. We had most of our shaders, fancy water. And this is our final version, so we have a day-night cycle, so during the day you build and then you fight during the night. Let's talk about some good decisions that we took. We used Arch, not this one, but this entity component system, which made the development much easier if we were to do it from scratch. The not so good decisions was to make the game with monogame in the first place. So 3D was absolute nightmare. There was no animation system, so we had to do that from scratch. buggy shader compiling and random flashing. It was really, it was horrible. Also, it doesn't have a level editor, so our level is basically 2,000 lines of hard-coded mess. Yeah, again, rendering, as you can see, there's a lot of emphasis on shitty rendering. We used a UI library that turned out to be very buggy towards the end, so that wasn't fun. Also, we put a lot of effort into making this rock, but then we scratched it after a month, so it's not in the game, but trust me, there was a very good rock at some point. And yeah, as you can see, we always have very good commit messages, very descriptive, and yeah. You can download our game at the link if you want to try it. Thank you.
Thank you. Big thanks to Hold It Bay 2. Next up on the agenda, the next game is Crabageddon. Thank you. Applause. Woo.
Welcome to our presentation of Crabageddon, an underwater tower defense game. You might notice that underwater isn't quite beach, but you see the location is currently a beach, but sadly the game takes place far enough into the future that climate change did its thing in the meantime. In the game, you play this beautiful little crab, and you want to defend your tower because you live in a hostile environment filled with enemies, including the final boss, the Naga. Both you and the tower have a basic attack to try and survive, but you also have special abilities, like calling lightning down upon your enemies. You can also find artifacts hidden in our randomly generated world, in chests or blocked by puzzles that you have to solve. Artifacts can make you or the tower stronger, but they also do the same for the Naga, and the Naga's helpers always want to steal what you have already collected. But before you give you another glimpse at what it looks like in practice, let's hear more about the art.
Yeah, so as you can see, everything is voxel art in our game. And during development, I kind of realized that Minecraft is a pretty good voxel editor. So I actually built everything, all the models in Minecraft. Yeah, it was a bit tricky to export them. I had to rebuild them, but it was fun. So we also developed a particle system from scratch. So also particles, also Minecraft. As you can see, we have particles, and then we combined it with a bunch of other visual effects, such as point lights and screen shakes, into this visual effects package that we can place everywhere in the world. And to end off, we can show you the final boss fight, and you can see all those nice visual effects working together. Also, the post-processing, we have bloom as well as tone mapping to really work all those glow effects together. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you afterwards and play our game.
Woo. Thank you, Crabageddon. The next game is Call of Duty.
for scallywags, one choice. Captain Rum, Ulf the Awful, Fishhook Finn, or Deep Sea Sally. Aye, 'tis the ancient art of fish slapping. A slippery showdown awaits. Endless aisles, endless chaos. Even if you won the slap-off, can you win the crab dash? The tavern holds treasures aplenty. Prepare to slap your way into legend. Code a duty.
Hi everyone, we're excited to show our game. It's loud, it's chaotic, it's juicy, and it's super fishy. There are a lot of good things about our game, but the most important is slapping. So we're really proud to announce advanced fish combat mechanics. It's not just button mashing, we have got a full combat system just for fish. So you will get 3 fishes for slapping and a coconut and a tiny, tiny fish for those who prefer to snipe from a distance. And remember, movement is key. Dash into enemies, knock them into hazard, and push them off cliffs. And friendship ends fast in our game. But you can defend too, block attacks, charge a mega slap, or throw a fish across the map. Between rounds, play a chaotic mini game to earn passive effects. If you want to have more armor, sure, take the pants. If you want to have more health, sure, eat an ice cream. And if you want to know about other items, just join Vernissage. Please join us. And if slapping is not enough, we develop procedurally generated map. So volcano tiles make you run fast while catches on fire. Water slow you down, and sand and grass is just sand and grass. So this is it, Code of Duty. Slap your enemies and dodge coconut. Thank you for your attention.
So big thanks, Code of Duty. The next game on the list is Flowbound. Woo.
Hi, we are Team Flowbound, and we're very happy to present our game with the main characters Manny the Hedgehog and Tayomi the Turtle. So our first thought was to create a cozy puzzle game, and we came up with this idea of this hedgehog reaching targets on top of a giant turtle. The player can move directly the hedgehog, and by using the turtle, they can control water levels and currents to rearrange puzzle elements.
The first thing we did was to create a physical prototype with cardboard, as you can see. And this helped us to notice that we actually could develop difficult levels. And with the help of that, we developed our first playable demo that we can see here. Then in order to create difficult levels and way faster, we needed a level editor. And that's the reason why we have it here. And with that, we can create and edit levels directly.
and we polish our visual by creating 3D measure for the hedgehog and for the environment. And we add animation for the hedgehog, 2D drawings for telling the story. And this is how we end up with the final version you see here.
For the level design, we sat together and brainstormed new elements to make the levels more challenging and diverse. And this process was very tidy and organized, as you can see here.
We also had some challenges, especially in regard to the movement of the hedgehog, which was in the beginning very difficult. He couldn't even stay on the box, and then suddenly he was too powerful and actually could climb and fly around. And the level editor was also not that easy. There were some bugs like this one. And we also had, it was quite frustrating sometimes because we didn't have an undo feature or a autosave feature, so everything was gone if it crashed. So yeah, but we are still very happy with how the game turned out, and we invite you all to play Flowbound afterwards. Thank you very much.
Woo.
Thanks a lot, Flowbound. So the last game for the beach area of the island is Thalassia.
I hope you're... I hope you're gonna beat Naga, not like here. Hello everyone, we are Thalassia and are excited to present you our game. That is a single-player survival story game based in the Thai Islands. The story begins with you discovering a warning about a rising sea level and an ancient sea monster. As fear spreads into the village, you set sail into the unknown. Explore, craft, survive. That is our game's motto. We started developing a physical prototype. Here you can see this cardboard where we created this map, including many different types of islands, our sea monster, and the raft.
Okay, so in our game, the world is procedurally generated, which means that every time you play, the world will generate 5 uniquely shaped islands with unique allocation of resources. And we also implemented a crafting system. So the player puts items in the grid to create tools and weapons. It kind of looks like Minecraft, but that was just inspiration. I'll give it to Kevin.
Complementing the crafting mechanic, we have the equipment menu, where a player can equip weapons to boost the damage output they deal, or use a shield to damp damage they take. This is really useful, especially because Naga has different behavioral patterns. If in range it starts chasing the player, trying to damage it with powerful close-range attacks, but it also has range detection, and if you go too far away from it, it starts throwing venom projectiles at you.
All right, so on the left-hand side, you see an earlier version of the game with not so nice graphics. And on the right-hand side, we have a not so early version of the game, which you can try after the venue. And we have improved graphics and a lot of features that you don't see in that screenshot. One of which is the rising sea levels, as we mentioned earlier, inspired by the story. We have the sea monster, which is cursed, and this is why the islands get smaller and the difficulty increases with time. Then we have a bunch of challenges that occurred during the development of this game, but since we have to wrap it up already, we just skip those, and thank you for your attention.
So thank you very much. We're moving on to the last group of games. These are based on the mountain section of Koh Gamui, and we're going to start with the game called Race or Roast.
Hi everyone, we're Race and Roast, and we developed a competitive jump and run game set on the fictional island of Koh Gamui. It is all about outracing your opponents in an ever-changing environment. If you fall too far behind, you're out. Let's take a look at our game development process. We started off with a physical prototype, which soon afterwards turned in our first software demo, with all the bugs and flaws that such a demo has. However, at this point, we already had our dynamic level system, which we are very proud of. Soon afterwards, we added some textures and finished the gameplay loop. And the game was already a lot of fun to play. You can really see it come alive. After that, we added an animation system. So instead of a static sprite, you would now see animations for walking and jumping, which made the movement feel a lot more precise and satisfying.
Another thing we introduced are game changers. So every round, the loser of the last round can choose one. Here, for example, we have the double jump. Another thing we did is introducing the parallax background, which made the game look way better. And we also introduced mud, which slows you down. And soon afterwards, we added some new game changers. For example, here the limited vision. This made the game more fun and really cool to play. For our final release, we also did a lot of things, but we mainly focused on the movement system to refine it, and we also improved the juiciness of the game. So our final version looked like this. You can actually choose the player, and also, yeah, this video doesn't work, but I would say come to our game afterwards, and you can see the final version.
Thank you.
Also, you can download the game here. It's free right now, but it may not be in the future, so.
So better hurry and download. Thank you, Racer Roast. Up next is Vulcard.
Now, this is Vulcard, a roguelike deck builder, just like Slay the Spire, or Across the Obelisk, with some additional inspiration from Darkest Dungeon. What sets our game apart is that it is multiplayer and also time-based. Now, we take all those things together and we shake a little bit and we get Vulcard. Now, what happens in Vulcard? Well, big mountain, big dragon. We don't like big dragon, but we still need to go up that mountain and bring some offerings, or big dragon will big kill us. Problem, offering didn't arrive, so now big dragon, big angry with big monsters, and there's some weird stuff going on too, but we shouldn't worry about that too much. So who's going to save us here? Well, we have Ferugos, a swift sword fighter. We have Theodora, the water monitora, a tank. We also have that guy. We also have Muriel, a masochist cat. And important to... Who put that slide in? Spoilers, don't look. Well, during combat, you can use a damage card to deal damage. And you can use a block card to gain block. And you're not going to believe what happens when you play a switch card. So this is a multiplayer game. You can play 2 cards at once. So we take damage, we take a buff, and we get buff damage. Now, additionally, you can generate aspects, and these aspects can buff further cards you play, but we don't have time to explain that, so we keep going. So on the way up, you can meet the Late Goddess. You can meet a shady merchant that sells you stuff, and you can don't meet that guy. There's many encounters, many whimsical and weird encounters. Again, come join our game at the end, and you can see them. Now, we also have effects. If you play cards, you can apply effects, you can gain effects. Enemies can give you effects, enemies can gain effects. That's a lot of effects. Easy to lose sight over everything. That's no problem, you just die. So we have cards. Now, we have many cards. We have so many cards, we can't fit them on screen. There's way more than this. We even have some special don't worry about that. There's nothing hidden in our game. Our game is very normal. This is, don't look. Well, Vulcard, am I right? So, and even if you think, I don't know if I should play this, we have gambling.
Woo. Thank you, Vulcard. Up next is Rift.
Ignis, you must let me out of this prison.
Do you really believe that I would set you free? Abyssos, god of water who extinguished my eternal flame, I call upon my spirits to lead you into the fire.
Hi. So we hope you liked our trailer for our game Rift, which is a 2v2 or 1v1 multiplayer party game. The initial ideas for this game was to make the love child between these 3 games. So take the gameplay ideas from Overcooked with the feel from Hades and a soundtrack like Neon White. These are our initial sketches, so where we came up with the idea of having these 2 camps where you craft orbs. In each camp, you have the water team and the fire team that are fighting to summon their god to take over the mountain. But at the same time, you can debuff the other team and yeet them off of the map and have other debuffs that make the game very fun to play. So these are the development stages up until our alpha release here. I think we had 2 main challenges. The first one was that making a crafting game like this, it's hard to be very explicit and intuitive as to what players need to do to gain points. And the second challenge was the 3D, that has been mentioned here quite a few times. I think we had the whole rendering pipeline that was set, but there was a lot of things like shadows that we had a hard time adding. So making the game look good took more time. which led to not very good feedback from the TAs. But this is kind of mean because, to be honest, they also gave good feedback. But we pulled together for the final release and came up with something that we're really quite proud of, that looks good and is really fun to play, and you really, creates this nice playing experience and makes you want to play on the train for apéro even. So this is a bit of things that we're proud of. We did skeletal animations. We have a deferred rendering system. We made music that is self-produced and also adaptive, so it changes throughout the gameplay, and also depending on which team is winning. And we added a lot of debuff mechanics, so like you can get inverted controls. As I said before, you can bomb the other team, and you can slow them down, etc., etc. So if you're interested, please come and play with us later, and see you soon.
Thank you, Rift. The next game on the list is Slap the Moss. Applause. Woo.
Hello. We are happy to present the final version of our game, Slap the Moss. So basically the short storyline is that you play as the good one, a jungle parrot, and wants to fight the enemy of the jungle, big boss, the moss. So basically the game goal is to kill that moss. But what do you have in stack to do so? So you have a slap attack, you have a big attack, and you have an egg that you can throw at the boss. You also have an ingenious platform system that you can use to be smart and defeat the boss. But the boss can also defend itself. So what does it have in stack? It has the thunder, for example. It also has it can also throw boulders at you. It has also various kinds of poison and much more, which we will surprise you with. So if you are afraid of the moss, don't worry, because we have a full-blown tutorial that will lead you through the game mechanics. I would also like to talk swiftly about the game art that we made by hand. For example, our game assets, our custom background, user interface, and also animations. And not to forget our custom-made game music. I would also like to now leave it to my colleague to talk about how we made up the idea of the platform painting.
We decided to start with some simple, not simple, but with some ideas, like, for example, completely unrestricted platform placement. But we ended up doing a fixed size version of platforms where you can just rotate them. And this was always the mouse, which was a bit bad for the controller. So we implemented controller support where you just place them in a circular round view, but that still kind of felt bad. And so in the end, for the controller at least, there's this instant placement option where you can just place them directly below you. Thank you for your attention, and don't forget to slap the moss.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, guys. So next on the list, this is our second to last game, is Gold Rush.
So hi everyone, we're Team Gold Rush, and let's get right into our game idea. So we're on the island of Koh Gamui, like every team before us. More specifically, we're in the mountain sub-theme. And deep inside this mountain, there lies a mystical artifact called the Heart of Koh Gamui. And this heart is said to grant immense powers. So naturally, as a player, you will want to retrieve this artifact. But because the artifact is buried deep inside the mine, you will need to use different movement contraptions such as speed boosters, trampolines, and zip lines to get to the artifact before your oxygen runs out. Now let's take a look at the progression of our game. So first of all, we started off with our 2D physical prototype, which we then moved to a 2D first playable version of our game, which we then upgraded to 3D, and because that looks weird, we added shadows, and finally, we also made the game much more colorful and added particles, and yeah, we just think it looks really cool.
The other thing that we are most proud of is how it feels to navigate through the mine using a roller coaster of different transportation items. You can place the items, it feels really satisfying if you place the items in such a way that you can just hop onto the roller coaster and get transported deep into the mine without needing to use the keyboard, like in the video. We have made the free transportation items, the zip lines, speed boosters and trampolines, extra fast and powerful to feel funny when using them. And we've also added particle effects to make using them feel visually exciting. Thank you.
Thank you. So thanks a lot to Gold Rush. And now, last but not least, we have Soul's Rift.
Are you ready to lose your soul and then find it again in a trial of ice and fire? Then Soul's Rift is the game for you. But how did it all start? With a lot of ideas. When we sorted through those, we realized they all had one thing in common, or at least many of them, to change the world around you. We then took this a step further and asked ourselves, what if the world itself is your tool? These ideas then made it into a first prototype, a drawing. This then transformed into a physical prototype made up of post-its and of a board game piece. And later we defined how the player can actually interact with those blocks. This actually made it into our first playable level. Well, playable, it's a cube and in front of a grainy background. So now Rui will introduce the features of our actual game and how it turned out in the end.
Yeah, as you saw in the trailer, our unique twist to the 2D platformer genre is basically the interactable dynamic environment through the dimension shift we created through the interdimensional monk. And here on our images, you can see some of the interactions you can have with the objects in these different dimensions. There are many more, so I encourage you to visit us in the vernissage. So the dimension shift was also like one of the technical achievement and one of the challenges we faced. We used a lot of approaches, but the simplest was just to use the tiled editor, which is a pre-existing level editor, and load in the tiles dynamically through the different tile maps for each dimension. And to the creative part, the story was really a core element of our game. So to integrate it, we matched it with the art style and composed 3 tracks to fit the story themes and the different souls part of the monk to fit really the story theme. Thank you.
So thank you very much. This was the last game of our 17 games. Now is a time for all of you watching here in the room, all of you watching online, to vote for your favorite game. Based on your votes, we're going to award the Audience Award. So here is the QR code and website you can use to vote. So please do that now. And to help you decide, let's take a look at all of our games quickly once more.
It's a harbor heist.
Prepare to slap your way into legend, Code of Duty.
Okay, we're going to look into this voting issue. Any suggestions? Okay, we're slowly getting better. So in the meantime, why don't we watch the videos one more time?
It's a harbor heist.
Prepare to slap your way into legend, Code of Duty.
So, thank you everybody for voting. We're gonna close the voting now and tally the votes and make sure we have a valid winner. I want to give a quick call out before we move on, because we moved the course to a new location this year called the Project-Based Labs, which is really fantastic. It kind of transformed, I would say, the way the students worked, and I'm really grateful for that. So just a big thank you to ETH for offering that space to us. So while we finalize the audience award, I want to move on to the jury award. And there we're very fortunate to have a partnership with a AAA game studio located in Brighton, England, called Gobo. They really make fantastic games. The QA lead, named Nick Grover from Studio Gobo, organized a playtesting session where the entire studio tested our games to select the jury award. So they played the games and they used that information to select the top winning games. We have some really cool screenshots from their playtesting session, which you can see here. I visited their studio in Brighton. It's fantastic. It's really cool. They're really professional, and it's fortunate to have their time and attention. Nick recorded a video to offer some comments. It's the first time the students have seen this, first time we're seeing it, based on the playtesting session. So let's watch the video to hear his comments.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a good evening, and I hope that everybody watching the presentations has been suitably impressed with the quality of work that these students have produced this year. I think this is the 6th or 7th time that I've been involved with Gamelab, and I'm sorry that this is the first year where I haven't been able to join the presentation live. I'm going to make sure to watch it later on YouTube and catch up and see how it all went. A quick bit of background about Studio Gobo. We're a game development studio based in the UK. We've done a lot of co-dev work on titles like For Honor, Disney Infinity, Hogwarts Legacy, and most recently we released LEGO Horizon Adventures, which is the first game that we've made from start to finish as a studio. To do this, we have to have a lot of very talented developers working across all the disciplines you need to make a computer game, over 20 of whom volunteered to playtest this year's student games. We've had artists, designers, engineers, dev testers and producers all looking at this year's games, with at least 4 people from a mix of disciplines checking out each one. They've then passed their feedback on to me. All of that's now been collated into reports, and that's been sent over for each of the teams. Playtesting is such an important part of the game development process, and the feedback we've put together is the sort of thing we would do internally when we're developing different games, features or game modes. We've talked about the things we liked, and we've given our opinions on the areas we'd look to develop further. And of course, not only do we give feedback, we also have the very difficult task of selecting this year's jury prize winner. So everyone who played the games also scored them. I've collected in the scores, worked out the averages, and as we often find, the results are very close indeed. I'll hand back to Bob in just a moment to announce this year's top 3, but before I do, I just want to say, on behalf of everyone at Studio Gobo, congratulations to all the students. Outside of the feedback, I've had a lot of very complimentary comments from people who've been looking at your games over the last couple of weeks. You've poured your hearts and souls into them, and I'm sure you've learnt a lot along the way. And if you're looking to pursue a career in game development, you've taken a massive step towards that. You should all be very proud of what you've achieved. Lastly, I just want to quickly thank Bob and the rest of the team at ETH for inviting us to take part again this year. It's always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your evening, especially the party afterwards, and good luck with everything in the future. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you, Nick. So we're now going to announce the jury award winners. I believe Violin has the envelope. I don't know what's inside. The only thing that I know is Nick communicated it was very, very close. We have a top 3. However, he told me next in line was really a tie. So 4, 5, and 6 was nearly identical. So it was really neck and neck. So let's find out who it is. Okay, I have the results here, and the 3rd place winner, coming in 3rd, is Team Vulcard. Congratulations! Woo! Please come up. Stand in the middle. We're going to take a quick photo. Woo! There you go. I'm going to pose with you, if you don't mind, for a quick photo from this camera here. So. Oh, I gave out the wrong award. Okay, we'll fix that. Let's do it quickly. Sorry about that. Okay. They're still safe, don't worry. So then in that case, why don't you pass them down to make it faster? Okay, now we're back on track. Here we go. Cool photo. Thank you. Thanks, Berger. Congratulations. So moving on, the 2nd place in the jury award is Soul's Rift. Woo! Okay, cool photo. Congratulations. There. Okay, nice job. Wonderful, wonderful work, team. Okay, and based on extensive playtesting from Nick and the entire Gobo team, the first place winner for the Jury Award 2025 is Race or Roast. Woo! Congratulations. Congratulations. Wonderful, thank you. Thanks a lot. Well done. So that was our jury award. Again, everyone is a winner, and like Nick said, it was super, super close. So good job. We're going to move on to the audience award. I believe we have a valid result from the voting. Indeed, okay. I have the envelope as well. Let's take a look. Okay. So, the third place from more than 400 votes, I don't know how many we have, a lot of votes, goes to Gold Rush. Perfect. So, congratulations. Great job. Woo. Thank you. Great job, team. Next, the second place from the audience voting today is Race or Roast. Woo! You can hold. There you go. Okay. Okay, let's pose a quick photo for our camera operator. Thank you. Congratulations. And the first place winner from the audience votes, counted just now, just tallied, is Vulcard. Woo! Congratulations. Here's the photo. Thank you. Thanks, guys. So wonderful work. I mean, we tell everyone, of course, everyone is a winner. It's not about the award. It's really about the journey. I want to give a big personal thank you from me to all of the students who pour their heart and souls into the course this year. You make us all look amazing, so congratulations. Let's give a round of applause to all of the students here today. We also have a fantastic team at the Game Technology Center. A big thank you to Berga, our head TA, who worked so hard to make all of this happen. Also, Fabio, we have 3 great artists, Fraser, Violin, and Doriano, who are helping with the course. Our student assistant, Jonas, Aicha and Elena were helping today. So it was really a team effort. Big thank you to all of you for your help today. Round of applause for the team. A call out to our department, the computer science department, who funds the Game Technology Center, makes all of this possible. Also very happy for that. Lets us do these cool things. So that concludes our session. Next up is a vernissage where we have food and drinks. We're very fortunate to have these sponsored by Nunu AI. Please talk to them at the Apero. This is a fantastic company that creates automated Q&A services. If you're looking for a job, you should absolutely talk to them. They're really fantastic. Big thank you to them for sponsoring that. Thank you for joining us. Follow the signs outside, which lead you just downstairs over there to the vernissage. I'll see you there. Thank you. Bye-bye.